Hello, I've just taken delivery of this Behringer UV1 vocal processor. I've bought this primarily for work so that I can do demos with better audio quality. So what I'm going to do is bypass it so you can hear the raw sound. So straight away you hear like a kind of, it's like the fans and the electronics in my office. I'm mildly asthmatic. We get more of my kind of slightly laboured breathing, and also that sibilance there. Those are the things that I'm looking to eliminate. Well, reduce. You can't change a person's voice entirely, but okay, let's give it a bit more makeup game. I think I've knocked it down a bit too much. So what we've got is Midas preamp, and that is, I'm giving it a bit of gain there. That's applies whether you got it bypassed or not. So I'm giving it 48 volts phantom power to this AT2020 Audio Technica microphone. I might be a bit close to this actually. It's a condenser mic, but I can't step back any further. I can't reach it. Here I've got the process bypass, which toggles this section and presumably the low cut on and off. The low cut is at 80 hertz, which is like, that's just above, bass guitar and like kick drums. So it's that sort of vicinity. Your voice doesn't really go down there. The detail down there isn't that useful as information. So filtering that out, because otherwise it can get a bit boomy. Here I've got a compressor. I'm using it subtly, reasonably subtly. So you've got two controls. You've got drive and you've got density. So density is affected the release time, how quickly the condenser lets go. So if I go or so you see the second example, it's letting go very, very slowly. So I want it reasonably quick, but not so quick as it's like, what you do is on drums. It's fairly subtle. The drive, I think, is a composite of the ratio and makeup gain. So the harder you drive it, the more it's squishing the sound. So the loud sounds are not so loud. The quieter sounds remain where they are, and then it'll have a curve in between those, in between the loudest that it'll handle and the quietest. Just gives you a more even vocal sound. So if you're speaking quite quietly, you're still getting picked up, and you're not, blasting people's ears when you get a bit animated. Over here I've got a de-esser, which I think's for my voice quite important. If I take this out entirely, you start to hear those sort of hi-hats, which are nice for beatboxing, which I used to do, but sibilance. So I can kind of get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it entirely because it is part of my voice, and it's quite, there's a lot of useful sonic information there. So the de-esser is just identifying this frequency here, and 8K might not be the ideal for my voice, so I'll have to dial it in more as I get more used to it. But I'm not a pro sound engineer. Get my mate Ryan round to show me how it's done. I've got an enhancer here, which is basically low and high frequency, and the manual makes it sound really fancy, but I think it's just bells. It's just pretty much EQ bells. If I crack this high frequency detail up, though, it sounds really rather quite unpleasant. I'm not a fan of that. That's horrible. It makes me sound like Will from the In-Betweeners. I don't like that at all. And the low frequency that it turns me into somebody from Radio 4 or something like Peter Serafinowicz or something. So I'm recording in a pretty terrible room as well. It's all hard surfaces. There's a great big glass window next to me. So the next thing I'll need to do is put some panels up or something. There's no soft surfaces in here at all. And if I go bald, there really aren't any soft surfaces in here. There's then a gate, which is pretty important to me. If I take this out, you start hearing the room and more of my breathing and things like that. But if I apply it too aggressively, it sort of starts, kind of cutting off the end of my words really suddenly. I'm exaggerating it, but so the expander, what it does, makes the quiet parts quieter. So it's like an anti-compressor. Which when I first heard of that, I was like, why would you want to do that though? But actually it works really well. It's very important. And the noise floor in my room seems to be about -30. Any lower, you start getting it. So I've just got it set just around that noise floor point. So, and then the output I'm using is a kind of makeup game for here. So if I were to drive the compressor really, really hard, I'd have to take this off, and that's now a really compressed sound. And you can hear that compressor pumping a little. You could take the release down if you actually wanted that much compression. But you kind of lose detail in the voice, really, if you do too much of that kind of thing. if you did too much of that kind of thing, oh yeah, I had the bypasses anyway. But yeah, if I'm driving that really hard, here's a very, very compressed sort of sound, and I'd have to get the gain just right. And yeah, it will. I don't want to drive the compressor too hard. Let's get back to where we were, more or less, just a little bit fast release. So yeah, that's our makeup game. And then here we've got a fader between what the computer's outputting or what the monitor input is. And here we've got the monitor level. It's just my headphone level, nothing more, nothing less. This is connected to my Mac as a USB interface. I have no other cables. That's going in, headphones are going in. That's it. Which is great because, you know, for meetings, I can literally just switch this on, because I was using this little Behringer, which is brilliant for what it is, Euphoria UMC22, but the preamps are not going to be as good as they are on the UV1. It's got higher numbers, you know, like numbers, like nerd guys like numbers. It's got more numbers, more bits. I'm sure if I took it apart, it'd have more bits in than it says on the manual. There's loads of bits in computers, but it works. It's working for me. It's got on-off switch, which is just like the UMC doesn't. Believe it or not, that's a killer feature, is being able to just turn the thing off, so you haven't got a LED blinking at you going, you're using power you shouldn't, no matter how little. So yeah, I'm very, very impressed with this so far. I mean, it's not going to make me sound perfect. It can only do so much because this is a really echoey room. But if I can sound from here, which is, you know, it's all right. You know, it's a decent microphone, but it's a lot of sir to about here, with a much cleaner sound, and the noise floor drops. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. £114, I think I paid for this. So yeah, pretty good deal, I think.